This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. You're tuning into the TCSF podcast with Big Z and JC. And it is a wonderful, beautiful day now that we have sunlight. And you're coming straight from the 606 Media Studios, powered by True Chicago Sports Fans. This is episode 293. And we're fired up to dive into everything that makes Chicago great. Remember, go to 606media.com and get your ultimate one-stop shop for all things that we do here at 606, which is True Chicago Sports Fans and Podsicated, No One on the Weekend. And we have the official TCSF podcast t-shirt and For the Love of Sports merchandise line. So check all that stuff out at 606media.com. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, smash and subscribe that button. And if you're listening to your favorite podcast app, please leave us a 5-star review. It means the world to us. So let's strap it in, get ready for an unforgettable ride through the best of Chicago sports culture and beyond. Let's get started. Lots of Chicago Bears news, and that's exactly where we're going to start is the Chicago Bears with the tampering period opening up right now and lots of movement. JC, do you have your ticker, your stuff ready to go there?
I'm opening some windows.
Some windows, but I'll get you started. The Chicago Bears definitely made some moves today. They definitely got some free agents. First off, let's go with Devin Bush, linebacker, 3 years, $30 million, $21 million of it guaranteed. What this means is Chicago gained a middle speed for the middle of the defense. Bush is one of the fastest linebackers in the NFL. He's clocked in at 20 to 23 miles an hour. He's a very, very fast dude.
He ran a 4.340.
Yeah. So, he definitely got a lot faster in the middle. So, you have two of the fastest linebackers on defense now for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, so far, again, we've signed Devin Bush, Kobe Bryant, Daniel Hardy, DeMarco Jackson, Case Keenum. There's a defensive tackle out of
Gilmore.
Galeman. Galeman.
Yeah.
I don't have it in front of me. That's why I'm mispronouncing it. But yeah, Devin Bush signed 3-year, $30 million deal. Don't know if that's fully guaranteed, if it's, whatever.
What's 21 of it's guaranteed.
Okay. Kobe Bryant, 3-year, $40 million deal. Adding depth in the secondary. He has actually played multiple positions over the course of his 4 years in Seattle. He started off playing corner, then he went to strong safety in his 3rd year, and then last year he played free safety. So position versatility. He can play multiple positions, which will help Dennis Allen because he likes to have his guys be scheme, where they can play multiple positions based on whatever he calls. Like, you don't have to come off the field. You just kind of swap positions and call it a day. Daniel Hardy's a one to me. I hadn't heard about him, but he's special teams guy. DeMarco Jackson, perfect, signed 2-year deal. They're saying $10.5 million, but I think it was like $7.5 million or something guaranteed.
$7.5 million, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's perfect for him because you know what? We really liked what we saw out of him last year in spells when he was filling in for Tremaine Edmonds and all these other guys.
Yep.
So great that we could get him back for the depth. Just a little, like even if you move him to a different linebacker position and then move Sewell, who was filling in for a long time there. Like, if you don't feel comfortable with Sewell being there, or Sewell may have been a free agent. I'd have to look it up, to be honest with you, because I know Sewell was such a late round pick that he may have been due up for agency as well. Case Keenum signed for a 2-year deal for $8 million. I think it was $5.5 million guaranteed, from what I remember. So not bad for a 2-year, $5.5 million, just to have backup third guy. Now,
Yes, Sewell stay with us. He's 24, 1.1 million this upcoming year. So
yeah,
we were
he's coming off injury though, so I don't
yeah.
know where he's
Sewell had,
in recovery and everything.
yeah, would he have the Achilles? I believe is what happened to Sewell. Yeah, Sewell had the Achilles, and Edwards had the fractured fibula.
Correct.
And then yeah, so I mean, and then we don't know what the
And then
hell
you
to
guys,
do with
you got guys like Hippolyte who are going to be on the
right,
roster as well.
right.
But we'll see in year 2 like what Hippolyte can provide us. Hippolyte was a semi-fast guy, but he was very raw coming out, so he's got a lot to learn. But this is going to be year 2 in the defensive scheme. We have not changed defensive coordinators, so should be able to be much more adjusted this year than being a rookie 5th or 6th round pick last year. So like I said, we should be able to fill in hopefully admirably with our team and give us some good depth. And that's the main thing that I can say. Like right now, everything we've done is starter / depth. Like everybody we've signed, they're good players, but it's one of those like we can still get an upgrade in the draft, and like we haven't really overpaid any of these guys. Like
Yeah,
Devin
it's a
Bush and
lot.
Brian, I feel like those two will be starters, but I'm talking
Yes.
more like the Galemore or Galeman, DeMarco Jackson, like Case Keenum. I was reading something that Pittsburgh had a deal together for our
For Tyson
agent.
Agent. Yeah,
Correct.
they're looking to get him for Bajan, but the Bears are asking for a second and possibly a late rounder package with it because he's ready to go.
Yeah, so from what I read, it was the Bears are looking for a second, or they're looking for a third plus.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah,
it'd be a third and a fourth, or third and a fifth.
Mhm.
But right now it sounds like Pittsburgh has offered. I don't know what they've offered, but it's not enough.
It's not enough, right?
So again, we signed Case Keenum, I think, kind of as one of those like if they do trade Keenum or trade Bajan, then we still have Keenum on the books. And again, Keenum, it's not a very expensive deal. Basically, call it like $2.75 million a year. That's not terrible.
But again, I mean, you're paying for another coach, right? 3 years, 48 million, 32 guaranteed. When Bajan's making 4 million, and I mean, do you not have that confidence in Bajan? I mean, you're paying.
Well, again,
way more.
my theory is, it's more of a high end upside of if they do move Bajan, like they have Keenum, and then they would probably look at getting a prospect late in the draft if they were to move on from Bajan. So this is kind of your hedging your bets. Like, okay, if we move on from Bajan, we got Keenum. If we don't move on from Bajan, we still have Keenum. Like, it's one of those where like the Bears have always kind of carried 3 quarterbacks. So I'm not really worried about 2.75 million. Like we have usually more than that in like guys dead cap. You know what I mean? Like we're paying the center that just retired, Dahlman. We're paying him $4 million to not even be on the team. So, paying Case Keenum $2.75 million, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, our dead cap is at 15.3 million. And it doesn't look like it's a lot.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe with DJ's contract and everything.
Right. And I mean, as of right now, and again, this is still gonna update when it becomes, I guess, official. Right now in cap space, it says 13.3 million, but I doubt that's what it is after all the transactions today go through. So I don't know where they're going to have any cap space.
We had let me see if I can pull it up, because we had 44 million coming into today, which was like the 9th most in free agency. That said, the problem is that, yes, we did. I've seen conflicting reports. I saw something earlier that a lot of these guys, like, they're getting paid like less than 5 million a year. So they basically are backloading their contracts for
Mhm.
like next year when they're going to cut Jarrett and Deo. Let me see if I can pull that up because I have it here
Yeah,
somewhere.
Kobe Bryant's making 4 million this year.
Yeah, so
Uh,
bare free agency cap hits. And again, I don't know if this is accurate. This is just, I've been on X all day, and there are so many parody accounts and fake news accounts that you really don't know what's true or not anymore.
yeah,
It's getting a little out of hand with some of these
yeah, I'm
accounts.
sorry. Kobe Bryant making 5.5. I'm sorry. That's with the
Yeah,
signing
so
bonus.
safety from the source that I'm quoting, and again, I don't know if this source is true or not because there's so many parody accounts. But
I'm
it's
just looking
safety
at
Kobe
sports.
Bryant, 5.9 million. Defensive tackle Neville Gallimore, 4 million. Linebacker Devin Bush, 1.5 million. Linebacker DeMarco Jackson, 2 million, not confirmed.
Yeah,
So
that's what I have for DeMarco Jackson. Just a little bit over 2 million. It's 1.75 in base salary, and then or I just lost this. DeMarco Jackson. I just lost him. Anyways, Jesus, damn Apple. Come on. I literally just had it here. Anyways, so I'm looking at Gilmore making 2 million base salary, 1.5 in bonuses. DeMarco Jackson 1.75 in base, 937,500 in bonus. Then keep going down. Case Keenum 1.3 with 800,000 in bonus. So they are going to be all backloaded. Daniel Hardy 1.225 million, 612 thousand in bonus. So everything is going to be backloaded, and that's why they still have a little bit of cap room. That's what it looks like right now. So then it looks like it is updated. So they have 13 million still, 13.3 to play around with. I mean, and then so who's next? Who's next?
well, and that's the question, is because when I'm looking at everything right now, because like I'm trying to find the cap space, because of those guys that you just mentioned, we had 33 or 43 million, I thought it was, in cap space, and all of a sudden, like I said, if we're backloading these contracts, I don't know how we use 30 million to only have 14 million left.
Mhm.
But that said, like, honest to God, like, don't be Bears fans, be prepared that this is it. This is all we're doing in free agency until after the draft, because with a first, 2 seconds, third, etc., be prepared that we're going to need 10 to 12 million dollars to sign the rookie players that we're going to draft.
Because you don't get an extra
So,
a lot of money. You have to take that into consideration when you draft. That these signing
nope,
bonuses and contracts have to come out of the same pot. So yeah,
correct.
so you can kiss Trey Hendrickson goodbye. Let's see who else is still up there. Devin Lloyd, linebacker, 27. Probably
Nope.
kiss that one goodbye. Brisker, obviously, he's gone. Offensive tackle Rashid Walker is out there from Green Bay, just got released.
Yeah.
Uh,
Don't get me wrong. We can restructure deals. So I think it's Jalen Johnson, Thuney. Some of these guys can be restructured to give us a little bit of cap relief. But really, honestly, like, there's not a whole lot out there that we can do, um, otherwise.
yeah. So I'm gonna pull up the depth chart because the contracts are the contracts, and we just talked to them about it. And then our picks are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 7. 1 is the 25th, 2 is 57, 3 is 89. The fourth one is from the Rams. We have a fifth, a seventh, and then another seventh from the Eagles via the Browns. So we got screwed by the NFL because they also released their compensation draft picks. The Bears were not one of them. And this is just, I don't know how do you describe this, a travesty or injustice when this is all part of the Rooney
Yeah,
Rule.
it's for sure an injustice because you know what? So like Matt Ryan has come out and said, I'm doing nothing with this. I have nothing to do with this. Like that is not what I'm here for. Like Ian Cunningham is going to take care of all this. Ian
Right.
Cunningham himself has said, if it were not for the Bears, I would not be in the position I am with the Falcons. Ryan Poles has said, hey, I put a lot of trust and I put a lot of faith in Ian Cunningham. We've brought him to where he is right now. And the NFL basically looked at the Bears in the face and said, we don't give a shit about you. Tough shit.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if you're not going to live up to the standard and the rule that you implemented, and I understand, hey, you can sit there and say that the Falcons found a way to get around it by hiring Matt Ryan. That's not in the, how do I phrase, in the intention of the rule. Like you guys created this rule, you guys created this compensatory pick whole thing, and then they find a way to weasel around it. Like that's not in like good faith. So again, it's one of those like, yes, would the pick have helped us astronomically? Yes. The bottom line is that it is what it is, unfortunately. We have to deal with what we have. That's why I've kind of said, hey, I understand Bajent is a pretty good quarterback, but he was an undrafted rookie that we can potentially get a third round pick for. Yes,
and
we'll have to then get another quarterback to come in and be a potential building block, a fifth round or later guy, a project, if you will. But at the end of the day, when you got a guy as a undrafted free agent, that's a come up to get a third round pick for him. Especially as I believe he only has one more year on his deal because we signed him to a 2-year deal. So he'll be gone next year anyway.
Well, that's the thing is, do you want to continue to have him as your backup? Is he better than Case Keenum as a backup?
I would say yes.
I would say yes because he's second on the depth chart. Is he younger? Yes. But right now we have Case Keenum pretty much playing coach and backup as a backup, the third string backup. But I don't understand if you wanted to trade him, you could have traded him before you re-signed him. You could probably have got more because his contract was a lot less. I mean, you're trying to add to that. You're trying to add more picks. I understand that, but God forbid, let me knock on wood. If Caleb was to miss a game or two, I don't believe Case Keenum can win us, a game where it's on the line. I don't think he can do that for us. Where I can say Tyson Bajent does give us a chance because he is immersed in the offense of Ben Johnson. He obviously he's younger and has a stronger arm than Case Keenum. Maybe Case Keenum is a little bit more accurate when it comes to short throws, but there's no way, like you said, they're not doing that with a plan to replace Tyson Bajent if they can get a couple picks from him. Maybe they're just dangling him out there to see what he's worth, right? If another quarterback goes down, okay, I can see them doing it and getting a bigger return. I know Arizona was asking about Tyson Bagent, and then they went with Garoppolo. They said Bagent was too expensive. But again, there's I don't know. I like our quarterback room how it is. I wasn't blown away by the Case Keenum signing, but also like I thought that was a lot of money that could have been used in another slot. I mean, Rome is your on quote unquote your one. You got Burden as your two, Jahide Walker as your three, Devin Duvernay as your four right now on offense. There, you got Theo Bennett at left tackle, Joe Tooney at left guard, Garrett Bradbury at center, Jonah Jackson, Darnell Wright as your guard and tackle, respectively. Loveland and Komet, and then Swift and Manungai. Why are we still holding on Roshan Johnson? Why is Roshan Johnson still on the depth chart? Explain that to me, JC.
I'm trying to find Roshan. Let's see. He might be on the injured.
On the pup?
Where is Roshan?
All the way towards the bottom. Underneath a rock or somewhere. Roshan Johnson. I don't have him on the track. Oh, there he is. He is due 1.1 million, and his salary is 4. Oh, sorry. His salary is 1.1 million.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I don't know what cutting him and saving 1.1 million, great. But at the end of the day, it's probably going to cost you more than that to replace him for a free agent or whatever. So because most of your league minimum player salaries are like 1.4. So to cut him and save 1.1 million, it's really not doing you a whole lot.
But he has not produced on the field, not even on special teams. He's not on the field.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
Jesus.
I'm just saying, until you get a replacement in the draft or elsewhere, you don't cut them until you replace them. Like I could see one of those, like, until we guarantee, because like last year, we wanted to get a running back last year in the draft, and people kept jumping in front of us or drafting the running backs that we wanted right before we could get to them. So it's one of those, you don't cut them until you know you have a replacement for them. That's just my opinion on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy week. It's been a crazy week. I got to jump on air a couple times last week, but obviously the biggest news is that Max Crosby ends up going to the Ravens for 2 number 1 picks. Obviously, the Bears were like, this is too rich. We already got rid of DJ. We already cut.
That's the funny thing though, is that the Bears didn't say it was too rich. The Bears actually offered 2 first-round picks for him. It's just, unfortunately, our pick was 25 and the Ravens pick was at 14. But the Bears did offer 2 first-round picks. It's just, again, unfortunately, we went against a team who had picks that were better in the draft than us. And unfortunately, we weren't willing to sweeten the pot with, a 5th round or, a 3rd round or 4th round or whatever it was, or we didn't have a player that they were interested in.
I mean, could have you done like, a 2029 5th rounder where you kind of kicking the can down the road?
They get weird about that stuff. They really don't trade like where baseball and stuff like that, like sometimes, or other professional sports teams, like they can trade way out in advance. Like the NBA, they're trading into like 2030 already. Like football, they do not do that. Like it's usually so it would be 2026, 27, maybe 28 at most. But that's it. Like they do not trade that far in the future.
Is that just a way of negotiating, or is that a rule? Like, what is that?
Honestly, I don't know that there's a rule about it, but I mean, when you're trading away that many draft picks, like it becomes prohibitive of your team. I mean, and that's why, like, I'm not against the fact that the Bears did not trade for Max Crosby, right? Because we've already seen, like, when we traded for Khalil Mack, when we traded for Jay Cutler, when we traded for some of these guys, and we gave up multiple firsts, multiple seconds, etc. You look at the fact of, like, it hurts your team a little bit long term, right?
Right.
Yes, you got a fantastic player, but the fact is you could have had two good players. All right. And again, we also as an organization have had a problem with GMs who draft upside and high ceiling players rather than drafting actual football players.
Yeah,
So
a lot of
we
drafting players of what you call reclamation projects or diamonds in the rough, as
Yeah.
you know, what it is. We've seen that multiple times with the GMs with the Bears. Um, excuse me. I mean, what is it? The draft is next month, I believe, right? In April.
Yeah, it's I think a month, 3
I
weeks
think
or
it
a
is a
month.
month. Yeah, about 3 weeks from now, something like that. I mean, with the 25, a second, and a third, we're not getting our compensatory picks, which screws us because it would have been 1/3 this year and a
April
third next year.
23rd.
Oh wow, we got a full month of talking Bears draft now. Um, what direction do they go? We filled some needs, some depth pieces. What direction do they go in the draft now?
Um, I think they're gonna go best available.
Okay,
So right, so now we have when you look at positions, right? We have Dexter, Jarrett, um, the Turner kid, um, Gale Moore. So there's four guys there. Could we upgrade with a Caden McDonald or a um I'm blanking on the other kid out of Florida, Banks. Yes, we can upgrade, right? Same thing. We re-signed Braxton Jones as well.
yeah, we did.
To a 1 year $5 million deal with some language in there that he can earn up to 10 million. So we re-signed Braxton Jones as well. But guess what? It's a 1 year deal. We have Theo Benedict. We're hoping Ozzy Trapillo comes back. If Ozzy comes back and not this year, but the following year, great. However, am I against drafting a left tackle? I am not.
No.
Because again, we're looking at Theo's on a 1 year deal. Braxton's on a 1 year deal. Ozzy has a major injury that, we've discussed that, 50% of the people that get it don't even return to the form that they once were prior to getting that injury. I think there's been some advancements in the surgery for the injury that Ozzy has that hopefully, we've seen Josh Simmons get drafted last year. And he played pretty well after coming back from the same injury that Ozzy has. However, again, it's still a bad injury to come back from. So I've talked about Freeling as a prospect. There's also a kid named Proctor, an Alabama kid. He's like 6'8", 320 pounds. They use him almost like the Bears used to use the fridge. They'll hand the ball off to him. He's super athletic, but he's very raw when it comes to pass protection and run blocking. He's only been a starter for 2 years. And of those 2 years, it's kind of been up and down. So Freeling is a low ceiling, high floor, where Proctor has a high floor, or you know what I mean? Like Proctor has a very high ceiling if he meets his potential, but his floor right now is not very good. So it's one of those where, do you draft a guy who's super solid at the position, or do you draft a freak that, potentially could be, all pro, amazing football player for the next 10 years, but he may struggle for a year or two.
Yeah, I would not want to be in Ryan Poles' shoes right now, especially this season. I mean, he's made some massaging of the cap, and that's exactly why you have that huge staff to take care of that for you.
Well, not only has he massaged the cap, but he's done in my opinion, he's done a great job filling depth holes that were present on this team so that he doesn't have to go any which one way or the other and reach for a position just based on need. Like I said, with Gailmore, Dexter, Jarrett, Turner, I don't know if there's another couple guys in there, a defensive tackle that I'm missing. But with those guys, all right, then you look at edge, right? You got Deo coming back, which I read something that Poles, has said, Deo is super motivated right now, working his butt off, blah, blah, blah. That's great. But you know what? He wasn't that successful when he was on the field last year, when he was healthy. Now he's coming off an injury, trying to get himself back. I'm happy to hear that he's motivated and wants to do well. But from what I saw last year, I'm not holding my breath. I'm not sitting here saying like, yeah, I really trust this guy to improve on what he did last year. It's one of those where that's where I say like, we can take a Parker in the late first. We can look at a Derek Moore out of Michigan. Like there's plenty of ways we can go in this draft now. However, I will say like corner and safety is still an issue because, we've lost a lot of the depth, especially at safety. We had like 3 or 4 guys that hit the free agent market. Nashawn Wright hit the free agent market. So like I said, we'll see. We did fantastic last year in getting Nashawn Wright on a ridiculous contract, which he outplayed, and which is why he's, due to make a supposed $16 million salary this year. We'll see if he does. We'll see if teams look at him and say, hey, you know what? Last year you were making like $1.1 million on a 1-year deal. We don't know if you're really worth the $16 million that is estimated you're going to get, because at the end of the day, the bottom of the line is he had a fantastic beginning of the season, but come end of the season, he wasn't really getting the takeaways that he was in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, that's why the draft is kind of a crapshoot. And I know the Bears did very well last year with just hitting about every single pick. That's not going to happen again and again and again. All right, there's going to be some misses. So I don't know how you I mean, especially the first round, first and second round, those picks are very close. You do have to take the best available. I mean, besides a quarterback, you take the best available. You take another lineman on either side automatically. Some guy who's been playing.
I've also been hearing rumor that supposedly Poles has come out and told somebody that they only have first round grades on like 16 players. Well, if you only have first round grades on 16 players and you're picking at 25, that means you're picking what you feel is a second round draft pick, at 25. So I could also see like, hey, maybe this is the year that they trade down a bunch and recap some of the, picks and capital for the future. Like I said, if you move from 25 to 32 or whatever, I could see that happening this year potentially.
If that, I mean, it's hard because a lot of analysts have picked the Bears to make a regression to win 9 games and lose the division. Right? Is 9 games enough to get into the wild card? We don't know. We shall see. What was the name of the guy you said who was a physical specimen and it's a risk to take?
Caden Proctor. He's left tackle out of Alabama.
Okay. Because there's been some other reports. Defensive tackle from Clemson, Peter Woods, another guy that's
Correct.
Three.
Yeah. So you have I believe it's Caleb Banks, then it's Caden McDonald, then you have Peter Woods. Woods is, on most NFL draft big boards. He is after McDonald. McDonald really does fall in most mock drafts and like big boards. He falls right around that 25 to 30 range.
Okay.
When you look at it. So it's one of those where like it's the easy, like, hey, perfect. Like this guy fits right in, at pick 25 for the Bears, just based on like most of your big boards. Yeah, Peter Woods. Like I said, I haven't really watched the tape yet of each individual guy, especially at defensive tackle. I haven't. But it'll be interesting because I do feel like, okay, like cornerback is a need. So, and it's one of those where I need to look more at some of these big boards and stuff like that and really be like, is there a corner in the first round that would be worth, drafting and in that 25 to 30 range? Because, we have an issue with Jalen Johnson already, who was out most of last year with the oblique injury. When he did come back, the first couple games, he did struggle. He was, not in football shape anymore, and just kind of looked a little lost the first game or two. That said, Jalen's getting paid pretty big money. So, it's one of those, and corners, especially good corners, end up getting paid big money. So, when you're looking at, we still have to pay Caleb in a year or two, things of that nature. It's hard to say, what's where money is going to be spent and how, because, like I said, it's going to get rough. Because the second we have to pay Caleb and that takes up like 20% of your cap, like that's when decisions really get tough.
Right. And that's when it kind of like if the roster flip flops where the defense will get super young. A lot of the players that will age out because of money issues, like you said, the cap is going to be, flipped over where the quarterback takes most of it now. Again, this is your window.
If you go look at our cap, like basically everybody's paycheck, Thuney, Dahlman, Jackson, everything was based on like a 3-year deal because that's how long till we have to pay Caleb. And then once we have to pay Caleb, we can't afford to pay a lot of these other guys. And that's another thing, we have to look at is, like Montez Sweat. Is Sweat really worth the money we're paying him?
No, with a base salary of 18 and a signing bonus of $4 million next year at the age of 31 next year. We also do have next year set right now. It looks like we would have $77.5 million in cap space. So Ryan Poles may be playing the long game with this, saying maybe I have to take a step back this year to massage the team in order to get all the players and go in with Caleb's last 2 years of the rookie contract, right? Maybe that's what he's doing, right? Because at that point, what are you going to do with Darnell Wright? What are you going to do with Oldobingo, right? Jalen Johnson, Montez Sweat. Those are your big ticket items right there. What are you going to do with that? So, Grady Jarrett will be 34 at that point. It might be time to turn over a lot of those players and get some youth in or some younger guys that have proven themselves and be able to be a contributing factor for a championship run. So it's going to be a long month of cap hell, speaking about any extensions or restructuring or free agents that we may get. Again, there's going to be tons of mock drafts. JC is going to work on some mock drafts and share that. I know JC's already mocked up a couple, but now with free agents signing and trades happening, you've got to redo another one, don't you?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to redo a bunch because, like I said, now you're sitting here. You got I'm just looking at the big board right now. They got Peter Woods at 19 on a big board, Caleb Banks at 22, Caden Proctor 25. They got Caleb Lemieux out of Utah. Interesting pick. They got him at 28 right now on the big board. So Lemieux is one of those big left tackles. So that could be interesting. Like, if they got him at 28 on the big board. TJ Parker is obviously in that late first round, as we've discussed before. A name that's been out there as well at 31 is Emmanuel McNeil Warren, a safety out of Toledo. I'd have to look into his game because I'm not too familiar with him. If he's a box safety or a free safety, that's something I'd have to look into. 34 on the big board, you have Colton Hood, cornerback out of Tennessee. 33 is Caden McDonald, defensive line out of Ohio. So there's plenty of guys where it's like in that range, you could potentially move back and still, have a nice player on the team.
They're predicting on this mock draft I have up on my screen at 57. The Bears take AJ Halsey, Haulcy, Halsey, safety from LSU. So again, there's a lot of work we're going to have to do with these mock drafts and who's going to be available and look at some tape. And I'll leave that to you and Ivan who will enjoy looking at football tape. Leave that task over there to you, but it's going to change. It's going to change on a weekly basis. The board's going to go up and down. And again, we still have a lot of transactions to go. There's a lot of free agents still on the board that will be looking for new homes. And then what will the Bears do with the $13.5 million or $13.3 million that they have? How much of that will they spend on free agency and as depth pieces or guys that you can plug and play as the third or even special teams, roles. So it's going to be a wild one, JC. Going to be a wild one.
Yeah, like I said, it's the nice thing and what I'm walking away from today is the fact that once again we've filled the depth. So now, therefore, like, do we really have to reach for a left tackle? We don't have to because we have Braxton Jones and we have Theo Benedict. However, both are on short-term deals. So we would really need, if Ozzie does come back, we would still need a left tackle to be his backup to, be on the team. So whether or not we get him this year or we get him next year, I would still say left tackle over the course of the next 2 years is still something we need to look into. Edge rushers like this year, like it's a big edge rush class, where one of those, like, yes, there's the top, edge rushers, but when you go into those late first, early second round picks, there's still a bunch of guys that can be very, very disruptive.
Right.
And huge for the Bears to draft. So like I said, whether it be a TJ Parker or whether it be a sorry, I'm blanking on his name. I'm trying to scroll to it right now. He's out of Michigan.
Out of Michigan.
Derek Moore, out of Michigan. There's Danny Dennis Sutton, edge rusher out of Penn State at 67. So like I said, there's a lot of guys that you could still I've heard Kamari Ramsey over the past couple weeks, at safety position. I've heard Zaki Wheatley out of Penn State. He is a safety. So like I said, you hear a lot of names tied to the Bears. However, it's one of those, same thing. We Sam Heck out of Kansas State, he's a center. We could potentially, he's at 83 on the big board. We could end up taking him, potentially in the late second, early third, or third round, and having a long-term solution, because Bradbury is only on the team for 1 year.
Yeah, there's a lot of stopgap or bridges. And again, maybe, like I said, he is playing, and Ryan Poles, I'm speaking of, he's playing the long game, and he may trade down and get more assets for next year and the year after, knowing that he has a cap, 77 million cap space, and going to need to replenish all these gaps that these bridges that he put up to get us through this season. Will what he has and what he added this season be enough for the Bears to be successful? That's to be determined, because it really determines on health as well, right? We do have one of the toughest schedules, and we're going to see what that left tackle does this season.
Well, it's going to come down to this, right? We lost DJ Moore, who was our best wide receiver at the end of the season.
Yep.
We lost him. Granted, Luther Burden is a fantastic wide receiver, and based on what he did in year one, you can't wait to see what he does in year two. Roma Dunze, I don't know what we have in him right now.
It's a put up or shut up year for Rome.
Right.
It's a put up or shut up. So let's see what he does. Right.
Then it all comes down to one thing. Can Caleb take the next step? For his rookie season, he did okay. Sophomore season, it looked rough at times. We discussed that, he likes to come back in the fourth quarter, being down. Like, he doesn't mind the pressure of those type of games. However, I would like to see him put points on the board and we be 30 points, 32 points a week.
Right.
Rather than, okay, we're at 16 points at, going into the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. And then all of a sudden, between the defense and you put on another 14 points somehow in the last 2 minutes. Like, we've talked about, like, it's not sustainable to win games that way. So it all comes down to Caleb taking another step.
It's really not. And then you combine it with having the first or second most takeaways. That's, the ball doesn't bounce your way every year like that, right?
No.
Especially with the amount of holes we have on defense. Do not expect that type of season from the defense. So, JC, let's take a quick break. And on the flip side, we are going to talk a little bit of our Chicago Bulls, a little bit of the WBC, which is on right now. It is USA 5, Mexico 0 right now in the fourth. Again, that's the game to be watching right now. And then we'll wrap up with a little bit of wrestling news, and then we'll let everybody go so they can watch the WBC. So we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey there, Chicago enthusiasts. Are you ready to take your fandom to the next level? The True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast has got you covered with some serious cool merch that screams Chicago pride. From cozy sweaters to trendy tank tops, we got it all. Show off your love for the city with our iconic red, white, and blue logo, or stand out with our exclusive collection for the love of sports. Whether you're lounging at home, breaking a sweat at the gym, or cheering on your team at a game, our gear is a must-have for all you diehard Chicago sports fans out there. Don't hesitate. Visit bonfire.com/store/606-media-store/, or simply just click the link in the description and snag your gear ASAP. Get ready to make some noise, show your pride, and embrace the Chicago spirit with True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast merch. Designed for you, the ultimate fan, for the love of sports.
Hey guys, it's Steven.
And this is Sean, and you are listening to True Chicago Sports Fans.
Don't forget to listen to No War on the Weekend. New episodes on Monday. You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, so we're going to go do a couple of shots. So let's kick it back over to Big Z.
Back to True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast with Big Z and JC. And let's talk a little bit of our local Chicago teams here. Let's start off really quick with the Bulls. This is going to be really quick. What the hell are they doing besides tanking and then winning by accident against one of the top teams in Phoenix? I saw that game. and they were up most of the game, and I was like, dude, you need to lose this game. They had nobody, no Giddy, no Modest that game, and they come up with a victory in the last second, and I was so pissed. So pissed. Can you guys even lose correctly? And then they get Giddy and Modest back against Sacramento and lose horribly, just against a team that didn't have any starters as well. But I don't understand this team. I get it. We're trying to show these young guys some playing time, but it's a scratch your head kind of thing. Is like, all right, well, put in one. Don't put in both. Don't put in Giddy and Mattis back in. Those you space them out. Because you wanted the anti-tanking thing. I get it. You don't want to get fined or lose a draft pick or whatever. We have 14 second rounders. You could lose a draft pick or two. All right, guys. It is okay to lose. The Bulls are just, they can't even do losing right. Not even losing right, man. Right now they sit at exactly 26-38. The teams underneath them are at 16 wins and 15 wins respectively. The Pacers, Wizards, and Nets. You're a couple wins from getting into the play-in tournament. Please stop. Please stop. What are you doing?
This is what the Bulls do. Like when they should lose, they win. When they should win, they lose. And it's the ever ongoing joke with the Bulls. We can never have nice things.
We can never have nice things. That is correct. They did kick off. What is it?
The last nice thing was Derrick Rose, and that's already been 20-something years.
Right, and again, that was in January. Okay, we'll move on from Derrick Rose. Thank you, Derrick. You got your number retired. That's great. But right now, we need to lose and lose efficiently, so that way we can get a top 5, top 7 pick. Please, top 5 pick. I mean, Adam Silver, look out for us, brother. You looked out for Dallas last year. Their next game up is tomorrow versus the Warriors. Then they play the Lakers, and then the Clippers to wrap up their West Coast trip. Then they're home against the Grizzlies, the Raptors, the Cavaliers, the Rockets. I don't see a win on this 6-game trip I'm talking about right here. 2, 4, 6, 7 games before they go to Philly. Please lose. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's so frustrating, these Bulls. That's all I have to say about my Bulls. It's so frustrating to watch. And the thing is, like, if it's on at the bar and there's nothing else on, I guess we're watching the Bulls. Right now we have the WBC to take our mind off our Chicago Bulls. But Jesus, for the love of baby Jesus, please continue to lose and get in there. Western Conference, let me see. The two teams to beat, for losses is the Jazz at 19, who did get fined or they are getting investigated for tanking, because it looks like Markkanen is healthy, but he keeps being a healthy scratch, and some other players on the Jazz and the Kings with an all-star team on that team. You've got Russ, you got DeMar, you've got Zach, you got Sabonis. I mean, you've got some really good players on there, Malik Monk, Keegan Murray, and yet they're finding ways to lose. Why can't you do that? Why can't you just do that? Find an injury. Put these guys on the shelf. Put the G League guys up there. Like, just lose correctly. Oh, my God. It's so bad. On the other side, the Blackhawks. Connor Bedard yesterday with like 1:43 seconds comes up, ties the game up, goes into overtime. We lose. Okay. That's exciting. Against hockey, we know where our hockey team is. They're rebuilding. We have a superstar in the making with Connor Bedard. We need to get more younger players and then sign some free agents to supplement that. We already know what track they're on.
Trading away the captain of the Blackhawks.
They did make some. We talked about that this week on 3 and Out. Let's see, Blackhawks. They made some trades. We also had Troy Murray passed away, longtime team broadcaster passed away. But again, we know what the track for the Blackhawks are. We're gonna lose. We're gonna stay competitive as much as we can. They got a lot of picks. They got some young players, expiring contracts. They know what they're doing. Like I trust in the Blackhawk general manager's office, and the organization as a whole. I trust what they're doing. So I don't mind watching a game like that because they'll be up 4-2, and then it's tied 4-4, and then they'll lose. I know what the track is. With the Bulls, they just continues to do it the wrong way, and it's so frustrating. So, all right, that was my Madhouse on Madison report. That was like what 2 minutes. That's what it is.
There's not much to say about the teams. I mean, like you said, right now, Chicago's kind of in this weird spot of, the sports we have going on right now, not very good. Not much
not very good. No. Again, just a little update. Mexico 0, USA 5, bottom of the fourth, with 2 men on right now, and Bregman just popped up. And all right, anyways, so yeah, I wanted to talk about WC because there's a lot of players from the Chicago teams that are playing. Suzuki's playing for Japan. He's doing very well. He hit a couple home
he's
runs.
been playing really well.
Yeah, and then you had Javier Assad playing for Mexico. He's been a starting pitcher. Tyon for Canada. PCA for USA. Alex Bregman for USA. Matthew Boyd for USA. Miguel Amaya for Panama. Daniel Palencia for Venezuela. On the White Sox side, they have Murakami playing for Japan. We have Kyle Teal for Italy. Sam Antonacci with a little league home run the other day. I don't know if you saw that, JC.
No, I did not.
He hit a gapper to right field. It's stuck in that little corner in right field, and they try to throw him out at third. He was stretching out the triple, and the ball gets by, and he comes in and scores at the end. Get that home run. You also have Alexi Ramirez at the age of 44 playing for Cuba. Good old Alexi Ramirez.
It's always interesting because I was watching something earlier today. There's a pitching prospect for like Major League Baseball, but he's pitching for Britain right now, and he took it to Judge. He took it to Bryce Harper, and it's like, here you have a prospect who's like in the AA, AAA, or whatever, but in the World Baseball Classic, he's sitting there striking out professionals. You know what I mean? So it's always interesting to see what these guys can do when given opportunity. Especially when, hey, like a team like Great Britain thinks like, hey, you're our starter over here, but then like when it comes to like actual MLB teams, it's like no, you're still like 2 years away from being a pitching prospect for us. It's like whatever.
Yeah. Another quick story. Joseph Contreras, son of Jose Contreras, a 17-year-old kid playing for Brazil. He's the youngest player in the 2026 WBC, and took it to Judge and Bregman and all those guys. He got Judge to ground out. He struck out a couple of players. Again, 17 years old, son of Jose Contreras. And here's the funny thing. When I went to White Sox Fest years ago, little kid at the table with Jose Contreras. I'm getting Jose Contreras to sign a baseball, and I had nothing else. He was like my last signing of the day, and I had nothing else. And I asked the kid, I'm like, hey, would you? And I asked, obviously I asked Jose first. I'm like, is it okay if I ask him to sign something? He's like, yeah, sure. And I took my White Sox my pass, and I had the kid sign it. So I probably have his first autograph, which would be amazing if he makes it. Because if that's the case, I'm gonna get that PSA graded and get it authenticated. That'll be so cool to have it. And I don't know what MLB he might be affiliated with. I'm not even sure he's eligible yet. But either way, that'll be such a cool full circle moment. Especially if the White Sox do draft him, that'd be great. You also have Manny Ramirez's son playing on the same team, and he hit a home run. So there's a lot of little niche stories inside the WBC, and it's fun to watch, and you get to represent your country if they're in it, right? Because there's a lot of them
that's kind of the weird thing to me is like, right, so like you have all these guys playing for the WBC, but then it's like there's this whole situation going on with Skubal, and it's like he's pitching, then he's going reporting back to a team that, supposedly he's having contract issues with and doesn't even want to be on. But, and it's like, dude, why wouldn't you just stay and just pitch and represent your team?
Because the team probably has him on a pitch count. Yeah, he has already been declared he's not going to pitch again. So he pitched today, and that's it. He's done. He's done. He's up there. He started the game. I didn't see how many strikeouts he had today. Let me pull that up. Let's see. WBC. Let's go.
And again, I get there's safety concerns. There's, you don't want to lose a guy for the season and have him have some sort of injury, like a Tommy John injury or something, playing in something that doesn't matter to MLB. However, there has to be a give and a take, right? Because the World Baseball Classic is becoming something big, like the World Cup.
Yeah, it is becoming a big thing, and I do really enjoy it. And I if I remember correctly, one of my coworkers placed a wager on Paul Skeens having 6 or more strikeouts. On I don't remember if it was Judge to hit a double or a homer, which Judge already hit a homer, so he's got 2 out of the 3, and then the USA to win by 4 runs, and they're up 5. So if that hits, he's gonna make a nice chunk of change. I'm taking a breather from betting because everything. I literally bet on that Bulls game against the Sun for the Bulls to lose it. I'm like, they'll find a way, and no, they pulled it out. So I am done betting for until football season probably. Then it's a lot easier.
Yeah, I'm not a big betting person, and then you add into the fact that Illinois has added on all these extra taxes and fees
50 cents,
for people
per
that
transaction.
yeah, and it's one of those where it's like, you know what, I'm not even interested. I don't care. Like I said, you want to make money off people, great, fine, but I'm not going to be one of them. I will bet, like if I'm at Rivers, if I'm at an actual casino, I'll place a wager here and there. But like I have 0 betting apps on my cell phone just because it's like I'm sorry, like I'm not giving my money away on like bets. Like okay, like the one season that Cooper Kupp was the Triple Crown winner, you could have made a ton of money betting on because the guy constantly had over 7 catches every single week. But it's one of those like where there's times that you can make money, then there's times where it's like it's not worth risking the money to, and I know some people do some crazy parlays and they hit and they make a ton of money, but it's one of those where I've never made a parlay that's ever won me anything.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I've won a few $100s and stuff like that. But again, it's like it's hitting the lotto because you're depending on 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 16. I mean, I've gotten 16 out of 17 legs on a parlay and lose it by a rebound. I mean, that can drive you mad. Like you can pull your hair out on those kind of things. And I don't do that anymore. Like I literally do not do that anymore. I'll bet straight up a team or whatever. Parlay maybe 2 out of. I mean, I'll put maybe 3, maybe 4 legs. Nothing crazy anymore. I'm like, let me just make a little change, and that's a little bit more feasible than trying to win the lottery with 4,000 plus odds. You're throwing your money away. So I'd rather play the stocks. It's a little bit more, a little bit better returns on that if you know what you're doing, if you do some research. So yeah, I'm definitely done betting. Wrestling news. WWE is looking and they're talking to Wrigley Field about putting on a show there, possibly this year, possibly this summer. Interested, JC?
not really. Because again, like we were talking, how many weeks have we talked now about like TKO and their ticket prices and everything else?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like I'm in the product that you're putting out there right now, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I'll continue to watch like my clips and whatever, and I'll be informed of what's going on. But I know that CM Punk has been pushing, because there was an actual interview that I watched that he basically said like of whatever, like of all the arenas, of all the whatever, I want to push, like he's been pushing
Yes.
To have a Wrigley Field match, because I'm sure like that's something he wants off his bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't know how it'll happen. I don't know when it'll happen, but I know that TKO will overprice it, and I'm not interested.
Yeah, it will be overpriced, but it'd be cool if it's not super overpriced, or if it's. I mean, and again, is there? You've gone to concerts at Wrigley. Is there, if you're in the stands, if you're in the 400 section, the upper deck, can you still see the concert very well?
I'll be honest with you, like with like video boards and stuff like that, yes, you can see some of the action. But for like even like concerts, like it's hard. Now I assume like wrestling, the ring would be more center of the
Correct.
field, like right over second base ish. So it would be closer to home plate and to the audience than the concert, because the concert's usually like up against the outfield wall.
Okay.
So I think the viewing experience would be better for wrestling than a concert. However, it's one of those where like you're still pretty far away, even in the 400 section, to really enjoy the action, in my opinion.
Well, and again, it's a smaller stadium. It's one of the smaller stadiums in MLB. They've done shows at was it Safeco, which is the Marlins. They've done one at the Astrodome and at the with the Juice Box, whatever it's called now. Both of those. They've done it at Tampa, and I can't remember if there's another baseball one that they've done. But out of all of those, I would say Wrigley would probably be the best viewing experience, as far as it's a smaller ballpark and it'll be close. As long as you're not sitting behind one of those pillars, right? They'll probably still charge you $200, $300 to sit behind one of those pillars, right? So you can stick your
And that's part of the issue, is that, and again, I'm not that I'm not the biggest WWE fan or whatever, but I can't justify spending $300 on something where it's like I'm a wishy-washy fan. Like I can live with it, or I can live without it. Like it's one of those where like I'd rather go see like a $50 AEW like live taping than spend $250 for whatever the WWE thing is going to be. Granted, I'm sure it's going to be a pay-per-view or whatever, but again, I can't justify spending $250 for something that I don't feel like the talent is very good right now. Like I think the locker room's in a bad state. I think, I was reading an article again. You read things online now, and with all the trolls and everything else, you don't know if it's true. But supposedly Road Dogg has stepped away from.
Yeah, he stepped away.
And again, I don't know if it's true or not, because like I said, I read a bunch of stuff on Twitter nowadays, and it's like I question everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you see all these people now on X and whatever. Hey, Grok, is this true? Kind of thing, because like you can't trust anybody, because like I said, there's so many parody accounts just making up stuff, and the fake Adam Schefter accounts tweeting stuff, and then you end up posting it to your buddies like, oh my god, we got this guy, and you find out 2 minutes later like, no, that's Adam Schefter with 4 R's, or what I mean, like it's not the real Adam Schefter. So yeah, I think Wrigley, it would be an interesting place for a venue, but like it's one of those where I guess like to me, like a baseball stadium, like I feel is kind of awkward for a wrestling match.
Yeah, I mean,
layout, the like how you position the ring on the field, everything of that nature, I feel like would be really weird.
Yeah, because they'll have to place a canopy over the ring with some video screens just in case it does rain. You obviously there'll be floor seating, and then how they arrange that. the wrestlers will be coming out of the locker room, and then they'll have like a walkway through the locker room. So there's waves that they've done it, but then again, it's like, all right, you're gonna need pyro, you're gonna need screens, you're gonna need, and then how much of the fan experience is taken away from that if you're putting these big old screens, and will they really help the experience? I think it'll be a cool thing as a bucket list. I don't think it's like something like, oh my God, I have to go, but it is a bucket thing. Like the last time they had wrestling at Wrigley Field, it was like in the 50s. And it was like NWA or something like that, you know?
Yeah, no,
One of
and
those.
I understand that standpoint of it, that, you know, it's a once in a lifetime experience. But again, for me, it's like I can live or die without it. So it's one of those where it's like I don't see myself like again, if the tickets were 50 to $100, I might go.
That's more of an
250,
Aragon show.
but you understand what I'm saying? Like $250?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not. I'm out. Because again, I don't feel the talent. Like again, if this were the 90s when it was Austin and some of those guys, yeah, I might spend 250. But
Well,
nowadays,
250 would have got you a WrestleMania ticket and some. You would have been on the lower bowl for 250 at a WrestleMania. Because if I paid $222 and I was on the second tier right underneath the sky, not the luxury boxes, where I can literally look back behind me and Shawn Michaels and everybody else is in the suites above me, 10 feet above me. That was my experience in Atlanta and in New Orleans. Now $200 doesn't get you in the door. And we're talking, this is within.
and that's not
what,
merch, that's not food, that's not drinks.
Oh no. And now it's a 2-day event. It's not just a 1-day event, it's a 2-day event, right? And I'm talking the last one WrestleMania was in 2015, 2014, 2015. 2015 when I went. That's my last one. So it's been 11 years. And
Yeah.
that's how much it's gotten out of whack. So all right, JC. I think we're good for today. If any news breaks, we will come back on with 3 and Out, where we just talk about 3 major stories and get you the best of the best and get you back to your regular schedule program. So look
Yeah,
out for those.
judging from everything right now, bare salary cap wise, I don't see us doing a whole again. Maybe we continue filling out some of the depth of the roster, cornerbacks, safeties. Do we re-sign Simone Biles' husband, Jesse, whatever his last name is? I can't think of it.
Yeah.
But like little things like that, I could see happening still. But I don't foresee any big splash player names. And that's what I was telling one of my coworkers the other day. He's like, oh, I hope we can sign this guy. I'm like, don't expect it. And I was very honest with him. I go, with the amount of holes that we have to fill with as little a cap space as we have, had we walked in with, say, $76 million in cap space instead of 44, yeah, we could have signed a bunch of other guys.
Trey Anderson.
But it's one of those where it's very rough with the salary cap we have right now to maneuver and fluff those contracts to fit under, said cap. So it's going to be interesting. Like I said, I have a feeling we're about to go, we signed a bunch of people today. We might sign 1 or 2 more later this week. But I told one of my guys at work, I go, don't expect a big splash. I go, it's not going to happen. We don't have enough money to go sign a 4-year, $120 million deal for Jalen Phillips. We just don't have that in our capability right now.
Well, again, we'll keep you updated on the Facebook page of any signings, and then if I'm available, I'll go on air. Usually about 7 o'clock, if not 8 o'clock at night, if anything breaks, and we'll get on with 3 and Out. But again, it's been a pleasure. We're going to move on to Sundays. This show will move on to Sundays going forward. I have softball coaching and bowling, so priorities and responsibilities are taking over. So if you guys are still in the mood for some more sports, you can go over, check out our boys at TTNL. They're talking about some more Bear stuff. Check out their channel. Ivan's over there. That's the reason he's not on today. Stevie B was supposed to join us today, but apparently not. Apparently not. Surprise, surprise. All right, let's get out of here, Jason. What are you going to do, right? All right, y'all. That is it for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that bell. That way you get the notifications every time we go live on air. Thank you for supporting us through 293 weekly episodic episodes. I know there's like 350 total. But thank you for supporting us. Thank you to our sponsor, 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans. Check us out on our socials. They're all listed down there. Our Facebook, our IG, our Twitter. Let me put them back up there with the big ones. There you go. So you can see them nice and clear. Again, hit that bell button on the YouTube. And for JC, I am Big Z, and I'll see you next time for episode 294 this Sunday. And until then, be good to each other for the love of sports.